This is part 2 of the final exam. We're going to start off with question number 19. So if you clicked on the wrong one, this is just the back half of the final exam review. So question 19, this is division of radicals. Ooh, maybe your math teacher doesn't remember exactly which lesson this comes from. I'm going to guess 10-3, maybe 10-4. All right, so this is what it looks like. Originally, do not immediately start rationalizing the denominator. I would put this all under one single radical and always reduce first if you're able, because check out what's going to happen as I reduce this. 5 goes into 100 20 times, and x to the first, x to the 20th, when I subtract those, I get x to the 19th. So now I no longer have a fraction. Rationalizing the denominators off the table, and now I just need to simplify this. So it's just the normal square root. There's always that little implied 2 there. So we just want pairs of numbers. So it looks like we have a pair of 2's. So one guy cancels. So we have 2 on the outside. We have 5 on the inside. 2 divides into 19. 8 times, 9 times. 9 times 2 is 18, with 1 as a remainder. So it's x to the 9th on the outside with the remainder x, and you can put that little 1 there if you want underneath the radical. And so the answer is A. It's harder to solve these with multiple choice. I have to go back and look at all of them. And then I have the glasses issue. All right. 20 is adding and subtracting with radicals. I think we're now into 10.5. So negative radical 3, I think it's add and subtract, minus 2 radical 9, yep. Minus 6 radical 3. All right, so the square root of 9 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So that's going to give me a negative 6 there. I do have a 1 in front of that. These two terms are like terms because they're both radical 3. So if you have a negative 1 and a negative 6, you have a negative 7. Radical 3 minus 6. It's possible I wrote it backwards. Nope, right there. Answer is A. Fabulous. All right. 21. If you're moving on, it's really helpful if you do know those perfect cubes and whatnot. You can just put this into your calculator using a fractional exponent, and out will spit the answer. So we have 8 to the 4/3, but I'm always going to encourage you to know how to do it in your head. The bottom number is always the root, and the top number is the power or the exponent piece. And so the cube root of 8 is 2, and 2 to the 4th power is 16, making the correct answer D. And that one goes pretty quickly. 22, we're going to FOIL with these radicals. Sometimes we'll end up with like terms, sometimes not. We will in this case because the radical matches. Negative 3 plus radical 2. All right, so negative 5 times this is 22. So negative 5 times negative 3 is a positive 15, minus 5 radical 2, plus, because you have a negative times a negative, 3 radical 2, minus 2 times 2, square root of 4. All right, so you know this is a perfect square, so we can just do that. These two are going to be like terms, and these two are going to be like terms. 15 take away 2 is 13. A negative 5 and a positive 3 is negative 2 radical 2. And so our answer is B. 23 is from chapter 12. I'm thinking it's the only one from chapter 12, but something could surprise me as we work through this. So 23, we want to find f of g of x. So f of x, no, of -6. F of x is equal to -3x plus 4. And g of x is 2x plus 7. And it says f of g. Students always call that fog of -6. And so what we're going to do is you always work from right to left. The function that's closest to the number, that's where you're going to plug it in first. So we're going to substitute in a -6 for our x in this function right here. So the very first thing I'm going to do is replace that x with a -6. So 2 times -6 is -12 plus 7 is a -5. Oops. And now I'm going to take that value and come all the way up here and plug it in, substitute it in for the f of x, working from right to left. And so -3 times -5 plus 4 is 15 plus 4, which is 19, making the correct answer D. All right. 24 goes all the way back to chapter 6. Probably your least favorite chapter, maybe, with all of those fractions. So we can cancel common factors top to bottom and diagonally. And it doesn't matter the order in which you do that. You'll end up with the same answer in the end regardless. So this is question 24. I always like canceling things. It just feels good to slash it out. So 2 goes into 4 twice there. It looks like I have y to the 5th on the bottom and y to the 6th on top. So 5 of those subtract into 6 of those, leaving 1. I have x to the 6th and x to the 4th, so I can cancel that guy. 6 minus 4 leaves 2. And I have 3 over 9, which both have a common factor of 3. 3 divides into itself once. 3 goes into 9 3 times. And now I have to make sense of what is left. So the only coefficient in the numerator is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. If it starts in the numerator, it stays in the numerator. Looks like I have x squared and y to the 1st, and the only remaining thing in the denominator is a 3. And keep in mind that both x and y can't be 0 because those are undefined values, because you can't have 0 in the bottom of a fraction. So the test generator does just automatically spit that out. And so 2x squared y over 3, the correct answer is C. All right, 25 is another multiply. Looks like this one's going to include some factoring. I wish I could just magically have all this appear for me and not have to write it down. So thank you for your patience. A squared plus 7a plus 12. I've got a gnat flying around in here. Don't know if it comes out on screen. So if you see me randomly start batting my hand in front of my face. All right, so can't be factored, can't be factored. This one can be factored, so can this one. So I am just going to rewrite that first fraction. Put parentheses around that if that makes you feel better. 2 numbers that multiply to 12 and add up to 7 are a plus 3, a plus 4. The bottom expression does have a common factor of a, so let's pull out that GCF, and we're left with a plus 1. And then we'll see where that leads. My a plus 4s will cancel. This a will cancel into one of those. So it will leave my final answer. I have an a remaining. I have an a plus 3 remaining. I have an a plus 1 remaining. Keep in mind, a can't be, think about your restricted values, your undefined values. A can't be -4, a can't be 0, and a can't be -1. So that is probably all laid out for you, but the best answer that matches, oh, it looks like the answers remultiplied this, so it would be a squared plus 3a over a plus 1. I think I glanced it. The correct answer is B. That one is tricky because if you notice, the only difference between B and D is those restricted values. So you do have to go back and double check that you know that A cannot be a positive or a -4, A cannot be 0, and A cannot be -1. And if you don't see that here, you should be able to tell in this step right here, after you factored that expression, that you've got 0 and -1, and of course the -4. So 26. All right, when I write down 26, it looks like it's a division problem. So I'm gonna flip that second fraction right from the start, and that way I have more room to work and I don't have to spend all that time writing it down. So 26. I have m minus 5 over m plus 5. We'll talk a little bit more about restricted values when I look at this one. When I flip it, I have m squared plus 8m plus 15. When I flip this, I have m minus 4. Yes, okay. So before you do anything, the undefined values, the ones that you can't have, the ones that you want to make sure, and maybe this would even help you eliminate like some answer choices before you even do anything else. M cannot be -5, and m cannot be +4. So it is whatever makes those values 0. So for instance, m plus 5 equals 0, subtract the 5, subtract the 5, and so on and so forth. So technically I think that's enough to get you the answer, but I'll go through it so that you see how to do the process. And so we don't even really have to factor there. Two factors that multiply to 15 and add up to 8 is a +5 and a +3. And so therefore your m plus 5s cancel. And so this is in our numerator. M plus 3 is in our numerator. And m minus 4 is in our denominator. And so our correct answer is A. All right, we're getting through it. 27. All right, now we're adding. And my denominators are not the same, but I don't think it's going to require that much work for us to get them the same. So 27, 6 over d plus 3 plus 8 over, can I just factor that as I go? That's going to be d plus 3, d minus 3. And that'll save a step of rewriting. So our common denominator is going to have both of those. Our common denominator is going to have d plus 3 and d minus 3. And so what we need to multiply this first fraction by, we're missing that d minus 3 option. And so we're going to need to distribute and multiply right there. I'll do that in just a second. When I compare these denominators, they are the same, so that 8, there's nothing that needs to be multiplied through. So I have 6 d minus 3 plus 8 to work out. or 6d minus 18 plus 8, so 6d minus 10, and so that's what's going to go right here is 6d minus 10, which makes my answer B. Okay. Oh, 28. Okay, so look at 28. It's a solve, but it's a fraction equals fraction solve. This is another one that should go really quickly for you. Should have a lot of success with number 28. All you're going to do is cross multiply. Make sure to distribute. Make sure you get that 4 is a negative. So I put parentheses around here. We're just going to multiply there. Equals, and then we multiply there. I remember there were several students that kind of lost the equal sign when they did this on the chapter 6 test. So you multiply diagonally, you write it here. You multiply diagonally, you write it there. And then the equal sign separates those two sides. So now we just distribute. And then 4x plus 20. And then we're just going to jump the equal sign with our like terms. And so we get 1x equals 20 take away 15 is 5. And that's all there is to it. And y? Did I write it down wrong? Oh, I didn't write the negative. Negative 5, negative. Here I go. Oh, bear with me. I'm not going back and redoing it. So here I am saying, don't forget to rewrite the negative, and oopsie, that's exactly what I did. Let's do this again. So 5 parentheses x plus 3 equals negative 4 parentheses x plus 5. When I started doing these videos, I probably would pause and gone back and redone all those other problems, but I know you will forgive me. And so there's our proper way to do that there. Let's add that 4x to the other side. Let's subtract that 15 to the other side. We're going to get much different numbers here. 9x equals negative 35. Divide by 9. Divide by 9. And now I'm going to look. Yep, correct answer is B. So sorry, my bad. All right. 29. And I said that one was the easy one, right? Oopsie. 29. Okay, so there's one division problem. This is from chapter 4. I would use synthetic division. I would not use long division. I will go through those steps with you again. If this was something that you didn't quite get, when we did it in chapter 4, you know so much more math now. Maybe it'll be easy the second time around. All right, so we're going to take that positive 2, this one right here. We're going to put a negative 2. We're going to put it in a little box. We're going to take the coefficients from my polynomial. So we have a negative 1, a negative 1, a negative 3, and a negative 4. And I am simply going to write those right here, right across the top. I'm going to leave a little space, not a very straight line, and I'm all set up to go. All right, step 1, add this straight down, negative 1. Now, the key here is to multiply and add, multiply and add. So you're going to multiply diagonally. Negative 2 times negative 1 is a positive 2. Negative 1 plus 2 is a 1. And now we multiply again. So every time we have a new number down here, we go up and we multiply it by the number in the box. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. We add straight down, negative 5. We go back to the box and we multiply negative 2 times negative 5, and that's a positive 10. We add straight down and we get a 6. If this is x to the third, this will automatically go down by 1 power. So this will be negative 1x squared plus 1 x, take away 5 with the remainder of 6. And the way we rewrite our remainders is not like an r or anything. We need to write that as a fraction. So we go back up and we write it as x plus 2. So this is our final answer. And and here I say we don't write the r, and that's exactly what the test generator does. So D is our correct answer. In the book, this is what they did. So again, lots of versions of how to write different things. All right, you'll notice here that the font kind of switched. Again, no control, so just kind of go with it. We did skip some different concepts in both Chapter 10 and Chapter 11 and Chapter 12. In 12.1, I didn't do all of those concepts. So I had to adjust the final exam a little bit, and I tried to pick things that would be quick. Hence 30. Remember, in order to be a function, oops, I almost said a bad word there. In order to be a function, x's can't repeat. And so the question says, which one is a function? So I'm guessing we're going to have a lot of repeating x's. So A, my x's are 1, 3, and 1. A is out. B, I have 0, 5, and 5. B is out because the x's can't repeat. C is 6, 6, 6. Well, that just needs to be out by its own accord, which leaves D. But let me write down those points so you can really see why I'm choosing D. 0, 8, 1, 7, and 2, 6. Little squiggle. Oops, I'm losing my whiteboard. All right, so all these x's are not the same. They're all different, which is why it makes it a function. So if you're wondering why I keep crossing those out, that's why. All right, 31. Just straight multiply through. We've got a binomial times a trinomial. As long as you line up your work, you should be fine. So 31, x plus 2 times x squared, 3x squared, minus 4x plus 5. So I'm going to multiply everybody through by x. So I'm going to get 3x to the third minus 4x squared plus 5x. And now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to multiply everybody through by negative 2. When I distribute that positive 2, when I distribute that positive 2, I'm going to get 2 times 3, which is 6, and then the x squared. So I'm going to put it right here so that my variable and my exponents all line up. So positive 6x squared minus 8x plus 10. And now all I have to do is add straight down. So 3x to the third plus 2x squared minus 3x plus 10 and minus 2x squared, 3x to the third, 2x squared. Oh, C. I'm getting slower here, not faster. All right, 32. Oh my gosh, 32 is just to subtract. So one thing that students do commonly, hopefully I won't do it when I show you the answer here, is you forget to distribute that negative. So x squared minus 2x plus 5 minus 2x to the third minus 3x squared plus 4x minus 3. You are welcome to rewrite this whole thing or just take another color maybe, change this to a plus, and then just go through this second polynomial and change all the signs. So that's going to change that, it's going to change this, it's going to change that, and that 3 becomes a positive, And now all we have to do is add like terms. So there are no other x to the thirds. So it's going to start off negative 2x to the third. I have a 1 here and a positive 3x squared here, so plus 4x squared. I have a negative 2x and a negative 4x, so minus 6x, and 5 and 3 add to 8. And so this needs to be a 1. My bad. At least I caught myself. Plus 4x squared. What am I doing here? Did I write it down wrong? I did write it down wrong. Oh. Okay, there are no bother. That's upsetting. All right. Let's try this again. I have x to the third. I wrote the whole problem down incorrectly. So there we go. All right, so that's x to the third. That's x to the third. So that is going to be a minus x to the third. And then I don't have any other x squareds but this one. So plus 3x squared. And now I have negative 2x and negative 4x, so that's a minus 6x, and now plus 8. Do I have a winner here? Yes, I do. It looks like the correct answer is B. Sorry, I don't know what it is today. All right, 33 is from chapter 11. I've made more mistakes in the last 10 problems than I have in all of the other videos combined. So remember to be kind. If you need more help, just shoot me a text or whatever. All right, what is the vertex? Oh, perfect. So we're just going to look at this graph and we're going to look at how swoops down. We're looking for that point right there. It is a minimum value because it's at the bottom, and it looks as if it's at positive 1, negative 4. So it looks to me like the correct answer is A. My graph here is not to scale. Positive 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you just count that out, you will see that that is what it is. All right. 34, write as a radical. Oh, this one's going to go fast too. Remember that bottom number is the root. So y to the 1/6 power is simply the 6th root of y to the 1st, or no exponent needed there, which makes the answer B. So that one goes really quickly at the end. So a couple easier ones right there. 35, very similar. So stick with this final exam until the end. It doesn't necessarily go easiest to hardest. Feel free to jump around. You don't obviously have to do things in order. So r 17 over 18 raised to the 18th power. All right, so once again, when you have an exponent to an exponent, you multiply. So I need to multiply 17 over 18 times 18 over 1. Check out what happens here. Those 18s just cross out. And so you have r to the 17th. And so the correct answer is D. Last one. Hooray, 36. So write as a fractional exponent. So I took out some of those other ones, and I think what happened is when the font changed, these are the new ones I picked to replace some of the things that we might have skipped. So it says write this as a rational exponent. And so once again, this is the root. The roots are in the ground, so it goes in the denominator of the fraction. So 7 on top, 3 on the bottom, and so the correct answer is A, and that is it. That is our last one. Yay! So So good luck. And text me with your questions. And again, the final exam is optional. If you like your grade before the final, I'll get those chapter 11 tests that you are taking later today. I will get those graded ASAP so you can make the best decisions about whether or not to take the final that work for each of you. So thanks, take care. It's been a weird semester, so thanks for sticking with it. Well done. If you need advice as to what class to take next, I'm happy to give you that advice. I know that for the summer, all the classes are online, so keep that in mind. And you're going to do what we did in 15 weeks. You're going to do that same amount of content in 8 weeks, and it's online. So it's going to move twice as quickly. So time-wise, as you're planning your schedule, you want to make sure that you consider that as a factor. So thanks. It's been a pleasure. Take care, and good luck in pursuing your degrees.